talk a little bit, guard steps down. So we're going to focus on, and I hope you guys can see my my deal here with the clicker.
Yep, we got it. Yep, I can see that.
Yes, sir. So we're going to start with this guy, right? And my guard steps down, right? So we're in four eyes, inside shade of the tackle, reading the via the neck of that guard, right? And this is what I'm talking about as far as what causes it hard, what the things that make it hard to block us, right? So my guard is going to step down and try to base or combo this nose, right? Well, I got free reign, right? I got free reign. I'm not a quarterback player, right? Because if I go back to the base fit, right? And I don't want to do it because I don't know if technology is going to freeze up on me or not. But we'll have an outside backer here. That's like if we run, and you'll see a clip where the outside backer does it wrong actually, but the 4-eye does it great. If they run zone read here, right? If they say, okay, we're just going to arc release this guy, or we're just going to leave the end, which is, let's talk about that for 30 seconds. If you're going to read the 4-eye, all right, if you're going to say, okay, coach, I'm just going to read him. I'm not even going to try to beat my head against the wall to combo him or to wash him or any of that. I'm just going to read him. It's going to be a pull every time. It's going to be a pull every time. Your quarterback's going to pull that ball every time. And if that's the case, right, that's a win for us in itself, right? I'm telling you right now. And now, do we face mobile quarterbacks? Absolutely. But who's the better ball carrier 9 times out of 10? It's the running back versus the quarterback, right? So if your answer to this is, well, coach, I'm just going to read the 4-eye. We're going to do what we do here, combo here, base here, and we'll be off to the races with a bubble and or now screen or whatever, the offensive guy wants to do. That's a win for me. Because I have a dive player and I have a quarterback player and I have a bubble player, I have a now screen player, right? So at the end of the day, I'm not telling you what to do, but I would encourage you to say, well, that's not really my answer, right? So we're talking guard step down. I want to get in this B gap violently. This guy cannot cut me off. If you want to spend time trying to cut him off, more power to you. It's wasted time. It's hard. Especially if you're running inside zone. Right now, we run inside zone different than most people. And if you're interested on the toolbox of inside zone, you can send me a message and I'll be more than happy. Right. Because we run inside zone. That's 75% of our offense. Our run game is inside zone with different answers, toolboxes, and different that. So different clinic, different time. But if you're going to try to cut them off, good luck. Right. So if I'm violent and fast and I'm off, coaching point, do not run upfield. And you'll see clips where our guys do it, right? They do not run upfield because what's going to happen? They're going to come right underneath you. They're going to come right underneath you, right? So at the end of the day, we're fast and violent and we're flat down the line of scrimmage, right? Excuse me, guys. We're flat down the line of scrimmage, right? Go make a play. Go make a play. And there's clips. We'll show you the clips where it happens, right? Go make a play. And we encourage our guys, man. Don't worry about these guys. Go make a play. Go be the guy. Go lead the area and tackles for loss. Right. And I mean, this right here is violent and fast. If he stepped, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about 2-foot splits. Do we face teams that do tighter splits? Absolutely. To try to combat what we're doing? Absolutely. Right. But we're talking 2-foot splits is what most traditional spread teams are. All right. We're talking 2-foot splits. And if this joker is going to step down, well, I'm just replacing him. I mean, he's not putting his hands on him. He's not doing anything like. They're like, if the team you're facing is saying, well, we're just going to try to cut them up or we're going to wash them, well, that you're beat off alignment. You're not washing that guy. And if you are washing him, you're washing him to where he's going, right? So and there's a couple of clips of that as well. So just off the base alignment, what happens if my guard steps down? Well, I'm fast and violent in the B gap and I'm looking to make a play. I'm not running upfield, right? And I'm looking to make, especially in one back, right? I'm looking to get down the line of scrimmage and make a play. I'm not a quarterback. I'm thinking dive, nothing else. All right, so let's talk about, and this is it's the same thing as this, but let's talk about the other guy. So essentially we're talking about this guy now. All right, so let's talk about what happens when my guard steps at me, right? Same play, because I'm telling you, inside zone is the number one play we have to defend down here in South Florida. So what happens when my guard steps at me? And the diagram this little arrow doesn't do it justice, right? But I tried to create an arrow that shows you fighting through tackle while staying in B gap, right? So rather, and don't get it, guys, our defense coordinator, he'll slant, he'll slide, he'll send this nose A gap. He'll blitz this guy. I mean, you got clips where the whole the whole front is slanting and this guy's coming off the edge. And I mean, he does a great job disguising what we're trying to do. Right. But I mean, that's a whole nother clinic for a whole nother day. I'm trying to focus on why you should really invest or try to spend some time in playing with 4 eyes, because it's going to cause some havoc for the people you play, especially if you play, if you play one back teams, spread teams that like to, inside zone, RPO, you do all that, I'm telling you, it's deceiving. It looks like you got the numbers because we got 5 in the box, but you're not running the ball. If done correctly, you're not running the ball inside this box if our guys are doing their jobs correctly. All right, so let's talk about this end when his guard attacks him. Remember what we talked about, right? So for him, this would be his left hand, right? If we're talking about this guy here, guard attacks me, right? I want to take my left hand and I want to punch violently, right? Violently on the tackle's outside number, right? On the outside of his jersey number we're talking about. Literally punch and try to control. Well, why is that, coach? We're not just going to let the joker run free. We're not just going to say, hey, I'm in my B gap. I've done my job. No, we're going, you two are going to have to account for me while trying to climb, right? So I'm going to punch, right, with my left hand on the outside of the tackle's number, right? And I'm fighting violently in this B gap. If they double team me, right, which could happen. If they say, screw it, we're just going to double team you, which is, it's easier to say to do that when it's 2 back versus 1 back. But if I'm going to double team me, all right, well, now I'm fighting the tackle. I'm in my B gap. I'm feeling guard, and now I'm fighting pressure with pressure, throwing my hip in the gap. And shout out to Coach Joe Frion. I learned that whole hip in the gap thing with him, and he does a great job with it. And he, when it comes to D-line play, Rashard Goodwin and Anthony Joe Frion are 2 really good ones, as well as Coach Allen, our defensive line coach here. But you throw your hip in that gap, and now I've controlled my B gap. And if this running back, if everybody else is doing their job, okay, I'm trying to press. What is inside zone for most teams? Press the center, looking to hit A, and it's kind of like a progression, right? So if I'm doing my job, he can't go A. If I'm doing my job, he can't go B, right? Our Mike is is a C gap player, and you'll see that here in a minute, right? And so when we talk, and I don't want to get too much into the grand scheme, but if let's say they have a bubble with a blocker over here, all right, well, I have a dive player, right? I have a quarterback player. All right, I have an outside backer who is a bubble pitch player. Your alley defender who is a run in the alley. Your corner who should be fighting outside, right? So you're kind of layered across the defense, and the offense, if done correctly, it should be difficult for them to try to run inside zone how traditionally most teams run it. So once again, do you have to be stout? Yes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you when you can just be, you don't have to be big in the gap per se. You absolutely have to be big. You have to have violent hands. Your first step has to be violent, punching that tackle, right? If guard's attacking me, I'm punching tackle. I'm feeling guard, and I'm using my body to stay in B gap, right? And if I'm doing my job, if the ball runs right at me, well, then I make a play. If anything, I'm punching that tackle. I'm feeling guard with my body. Ball's running at me. I'm doing my job. Ball bounces. Well, that's a win for us, right? That's a win for us. And people run inside zone to get north and south, not east and west. So if we can have gap control, right, by our technique and alignment, well, it's going to be hard for you to run the ball in between the tackles. And if we can stop you from running the ball in between the tackles, we got a chance. It don't matter who we're playing. There's some really good teams down here, right? Really good teams. And it don't matter who we're playing. If we can control the B gaps, stop you from running the ball inside the tackle, we're going to have a chance to win. And not guaranteeing you're going to win, but you're going to put yourself in a position to win by solely stopping their inside run plays.